In this video, we're going to discuss an example where we end up needing to solve a quadratic equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this example. So a garden measuring 15 meters by 20 meters is to have a pedestrian pathway installed around it. Okay, so actually let's go ahead and draw that out. So we have 15 by 20, okay? So this is 20 meters and this is 15 meters. Okay, and then it's going to have a pathway installed around it. The new area will be 336 meters squared. Okay, so the area of the garden plus the pathway is 336 meters squared. What is the width of the pathway? So let's go ahead and define x to be the width of the pathway. Okay, and so this distance here actually let me write it in red. So this distance here, this is x. Okay, this distance here, this is x. So the width of the pathway is uniform all the way around the garden. Okay, so the area of the garden is 330, or the area of the garden plus the pathway is 336 meters squared. So this length here, okay, this will be 20, right, because there's a distance of 20 here, right, so down here that would correspond to right here, so it's going to be 20, but then it'll also be plus, and this distance that's left over between here and there is x, so, and then also this distance over here to there is also x, so 20 plus 2x. Okay, similarly on this side, this distance is the 15, okay, the 15 plus this is x and this is x, so 15 plus 2x. Okay, so the area is length times width, right? So if you were to take 15 plus 2x and then multiply that by 20 plus 2x, what you'll get is 336, the area of the garden and the pathway. Okay, so now once I've set that up, that's the hardest part of the question, and now I just need to solve for x. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is FOIL to solve for x. So 15 times 20 is 300, plus 20 times 2x is 40x. 15 times 2x is 30x. And then lastly we have 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. So that equals 336. I'm kind of just going to rearrange this, and I'm going to combine these two terms, 40x plus 30x, they're like terms. I'm going to go ahead and pull the 4x squared out front just to make it standard form. And then 40 plus 30 is 70x. And then I have 300, so plus 300. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 360, or 336, from both sides of the equation so that I can get 0 on one side of the equation. So this minus 336, this equals 0. So now I have 4x squared plus 70x. 300 minus 336 is negative 36. Okay, this equals 0. Alright, so now I just need a factor. You know, I could use completing the square, I could use quadratic formula. I always like to start with factoring, see if factoring works, and if it does, then that's great. If it doesn't, then I try completing the square. Okay, so first thing, I'm looking at this, I want to factor. First thing I can see is common amongst all the terms is a 2. If I go pull out a 2, so 2 times 2x squared is 4x squared, and 2 times 35x is 70x, okay, and then minus 2 times 18 would be 36. Alright, so I pulled out a 2 from all the terms. Alright, so now I'm ready to do my factoring. I'm going to go ahead and do my factoring table over here. I'm going to say factors of, now remember, I take the constant in front of the x squared and multiply that by the last number without the x. So that would be factors of 2 times negative 18, which is negative 36. And then I have the sum of the factors. And the goal is always to get the middle number, in this case 35. So if I start with 1 times negative 36, if I were to add those two together, I would get negative 35. Okay, I'm trying to get positive 35. So what about negative 1 times 36? If I were to add those two together, I get positive 35. So that's the one that I want to go with. So I'm going to move this equation up here because I ran out of room. So I'm going to have this 2 times 2x squared. I'm going to break that 35 down into minus 1x and plus 35x minus 18 equals 0. Okay, you see I haven't changed the equation because, it's not 35 but 36. Because minus 1x plus 36x is the same thing as 35x. Okay, so I haven't changed the equation, but I've basically broken this 35 into 2 pieces. Alright, so now I'm going to look on this side, I'm going to look on this side, see what I can factor out. So I'll have the 2 there, and then I'll have, what can I factor out? Let's see, just one of the x's, that's it. So 2x minus 1, and then what can I factor out on the other side? I can factor out an 18. Okay, I'll be left with 2x minus 1. Okay, so now oops, let me end those parentheses. Okay, so now this term and this term are the same, so I can pull them out. So I'll have 2 times x plus 18 times 2x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so now if any of these terms are 0, so if x plus 18 is 0, or 2x minus 1, if that's 0, the whole thing will go to 0. So let's go ahead and solve both those pieces. So 8 plus 18, if this equals 0, so that'll be if 8 equals negative 18. Oh, sorry, if x equals negative 18. And let's see, width of the pathway cannot be negative 18 meters, so that answer doesn't make any sense. So let's see, what about this one? So the 2x minus 1 equals 0, and if I were to add 1 to both sides, I'd get 2x, and then I would have 2x equals 1/2. Divide both sides by 2. So x equals 1/2. X equals 1/2. Yeah, that makes sense. The width of the pathway is 1/2, half of a meter. So I can write that answer here. The width of the pathway is half of a meter. Okay, and then there you go, that's the solution.